Hi, this is Miss Aragon. This is a Google Sheets video walkthrough of the assignment called Quarterly Donor Data. Before you begin the assignment, please make sure you have read the description. Also, before you get started with step 2, which is where we will be starting, make sure that you have done step 1, which is to have a blank spreadsheet ready to go. I'm going to get started with step 2. Throughout this video, I will go through each step. I will complete the step on the screen so that you can watch. Remember that you can pause, you can restart the video, you can move around the video as you need. Okay. So step 2 says to rename the spreadsheet Quarterly Donor Data. So up in the top left corner, currently it says Untitled. I'm going to click on that and change it to Quarterly Donor Data. Once you're done that, you just hit Enter, and then it will be renamed. Step 3 says to merge cells A1 through A5. In order to do this, what you need to do is make sure you have cell A1 selected. Then on the keyboard, hold down the Shift key and select A5. You'll see that now they are all selected. Then you can go up to Format, down to Merge Cells, and select Merge All. And what that does is it makes it one big cell, so you don't have the lines between them anymore. Next step, step 4, in the newly merged cells, insert the Before You Click logo. Then you're going to resize the image to fit inside the cells A1 through A5. Okay, so to get this logo, what you need to do is you need to actually open a new tab and make sure you're on Google. Okay, so you can search for Before You Click logo and go over to Images. Alright, this is what it should look like. So click on it, and then you need to right click and select Copy Image Address. Okay, we're not going to copy and paste, we're going to do it a little bit differently. So copy image address. Once you've done that, go back to your spreadsheet. Go to Insert, and we're going to insert an image. So we copied the image address, which is a URL, so we're going to go to By URL, and we're going to paste here. You should see it pop up, and then hit Select. Alright, as you see, it comes in very large. We do not want it to be this big, so we're going to resize it. We're going to try to fit it for the most part into this merged cell over here. Okay, you don't want it to be too tiny, so make it about this big or so. Just estimate, doesn't have to be exact. And then once you have it there, we're actually going to resize column A so that it all fits inside this column. This is column A. To resize it, if you move your mouse around right here, you'll see two arrows come up, and you can just click and drag until it fits in. Alright, there we go. Now we're on to step 5. Step 5 says to key the data into the spreadsheet as shown in figure 2.2. So that is in the back of your packet. What you're going to do here is you're going to type in everything exactly as you see it. So you may be looking at the numbers on there and thinking they might look better with commas, or maybe we should write them a little differently. But what I want you to do is please write everything just exactly as you see it. We'll go through later and change it, format it to make it look a little nicer. But for now, we're not going to worry about that part. Another thing to make sure about is make sure that you are typing everything into the right cell. Okay, so as you're looking, we already have cells A1 through 5 filled up with that logo. And if you look below there on figure 2.2, you'll see that that cell A6, which is this one right here, has Before You Click written in there. So what you need to do is just click on cell A6, and then you can type Before You Click. Okay. If you hit Enter, it'll go down to the cell below, and below that we see in cell A7 4411 Online Av. So you type that, and you'll continue typing all the way through the instructions. Okay, and then down below, at cell A11, you see a lot of information there from A11 down and over. So you're going to fill all the information in exactly as you see it. Please again make sure you're in the right cell. You'll notice that the column and the number is highlighted for whichever one that you are in. So please again check those as you're going, make sure that they are right, or else later we may run into some issues with that. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is please pause the video, type in everything as you see it on figure 2.2, check and make sure everything's in the right place. When you have finished typing everything in and are ready for the next step, please resume the video. Alright, so once you have completed step 5, your screen should look very similar to mine. Again, please make sure you check to make sure you have the correct numbers, make sure you did the correct spelling, and most importantly, make sure that everything is in the correct cell. Also, don't forget about this little guy down here in cell A23. Total is kind of squeezed in the corner, so don't forget about that one. But once you have all this ready, you can go on to step 6, which is format the text in cells A6 through G11 as bold. This is where I want to remind you about the undo button up here. If you make a mistake, if you accidentally delete something or move things around, don't panic. You can just hit the undo button and take it right back to how it was before. Okay, so we're going to format this text in cells A6 through G11 as bold. So you need to click on cell A6, which is this one right here. Hold the mouse button down and go all the way over to G and down to 11. So all of this should be highlighted. Once you have all of that in that box, you can go up to the top and format it as bold. Okay. Step 7, change the fill colors in cells A11 through G11 to light gray 2. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to click in a random cell just to get rid of that box we have. And we need cells A11 through G11. So click in A11, hold the mouse down, and drag all the way over to G11. Now we need to change the fill color to light gray. Alright, so the fill color will be in what looks like a paint can. Mine is right here. If you do not see it, you might have a more button around here somewhere, and it may be there. So in the fill can, or I'm sorry, in the fill color, which looks like a paint can, this top row has all the black and white and grays in them, and you will see that as you stop on certain ones, it tells you the color. So we're looking for light gray 2, which is this one. Okay, not a huge difference, but it does make it a little darker. Next step is to center align column B. So what you want to do, again, these are all the columns. This is all column A, this is all column B, and C, so on. To do something to all the cells in the column, you can just click on the column title, which is B, in this case, and we are going to center align. So now that I clicked on B, it highlighted everything in column B, and I'm going to go over to alignment up here, which again might be under the more button, and then go to center. Okay, and now everything in here is center aligned. Next step, step 9, right align columns C through G and format them as currency displaying 0 decimal places. So this has a few steps built in. First thing, columns C through G, so let's highlight them. Click on C and drag down all the way to G. Now they are all highlighted. We're going to right align everything inside, so go to alignment where we just were, and right alignment is this one. And you see that everything kind of moved over to the right side of their cells. Next, format them as currency, displaying 0 decimal places. So these are all whole numbers. There's no change in here, so we don't need any decimals. So we're going to go up, again, with these all still highlighted, go up to format. We're going to go next to numbers. And then we're going to go to currency and rounded. Notice this has no decimal places. And as I did that, you see that these all now have the $sign, and if it's more than 1,000, it has a comma there. So that's why I was saying earlier, don't worry about doing that yourself. Just type it in, and it will be very easy to just click a button later, and here we are. Alright, so next up is 10. This is where we get into functions. So instead of doing any kind of math with these numbers ourselves, we are going to type in a function, which is a formula, and the spreadsheet will then do the math that we tell it to do for us. So it's much easier, much quicker. So step 10 says in cell G12. I'm going to click on G12. So I'm going to click away out of these boxes I have highlighted, and then I'm going to go G12, which is this one right here. In cell G12, key a formula or use the sum function to calculate the annual total for Alliance Technology. So what we need to do here is find the total for all of these numbers, for all the quarters. So quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, that adds up to an annual total. So we're going to put a formula in that will add those numbers up for us. All formulas start with an equal sign. So we're going to double click in this cell so we can type, hit the equal sign, and then we want it to add, so we're going to type in sum. Sum, there we go. Then we need to tell it what numbers we want to add up. So instead of telling it the numbers we want to add, we're going to tell it the cells that we want it to add. So we're going to start with N, a parenthesis, which is up there above the number 9. Hold down Shift and 9. And we're going to tell it the first cell that we want it to add, which is going to be, in this case, C12, which is this one right here. So we're going to type in C12. And then it needs to add up a bunch of different things. So we're going to hold down the Shift key and hit the colon sign, which is next to the letter L, and then type in C. Oh, no, type in F12. Okay, and then close the parenthesis. So what we just did there is we're telling it to add up everything from cell C12 to F12. So those are all four numbers right here. Once we have that done, we can hit enter, and it just added up those numbers for us. So 8,000 plus 8,000 plus 8,000 plus 8,000 is 32,000. All right, step 11, use autofill to calculate the annual totals in cells G13 through G21. So basically what we're going to do is the same idea that we did here. We're going to add up the first, second, third, and fourth quarter for each of these companies here. But instead of having to type that formula in over and over, there's something called autofill, which will kind of copy what we've done before. So in the corner of the cell, there's a little blue square. If you click on that square and drag it down, and it says to drag down to autofill all the way to G21, which is right here. So I'm going to drag down, and when I let go of the mouse, it just added up all of those numbers for us. Okay, and if you're wondering how that works, up here, so if you click on, let's say, Maverick Enterprises, their total, $14,000. If you look up here, what it did is it found the sum of C13 through F13, which are these four cells here. So it knew we did that in the first one, and it just changed it to, instead of calculating everything in row 12, now we're going to calculate everything in row 13. And for this one, we're calculating everything in row 14 from C to F, all the way, so on and so forth. So it makes that a lot easier than if we had to do it by hand. Next step, 12, in cell C23, key a formula or use the sum function to calculate the total donations for quarter 1. So cell C23 is right here. Again, we're adding a total. So equal sign, all formulas start with equal sign, sum, and then parenthesis, and we're going to do C12. Okay, so we're starting with this one, and then parentheses, or I'm sorry, and then colon, C21. And you'll see that orange box pop up, and it's asking you, are these the ones you want? Yes, we want to add up all of these. Close your parentheses and hit enter, and it will add those up. Okay, so that is the total of how much money that they received in quarter 1. Step 13, use autofill to calculate the quarterly totals in cells D23 through F23 and the annual total in G23. So we already did a formula here. Again, it's telling us everything, all of the numbers in quarter 1. This is adding up all of these numbers here. So now to have it calculate quarter 2, 3, and 4, again, use that autofill, but we're going to drag this way. And it totals those up for us. So this one, again, is calculating everything from D12, which is here, to D21, which is down here, and so on. Number 14, step 14, in cells A23 through G23, format the text as bold and change the fill color to light gray too. So here's A23, highlight over to G23, we need it to be bold, and again we're doing that fill color, light gray too. Okay. Step 15, add a cell border to cell G23. So we're going to click only on G23. And a cell border basically is like an outline around it. And that's up here, these boxes, borders. You're going to click on that and just click on the first one. And once you click away, you will see the box around there. The last step says carefully proofread your work for accuracy and format. So this is where you need to go back and look. Make sure all your numbers look right. Make sure you have formulas that calculated all of these totals here. Make sure you have formulas that calculated all these totals here. Check for spelling, all that kind of stuff. Once you are finished, please go on to the last step and follow the instructions in class to submit your assignment.